Coming up on Locked On Angels, John and I will recap yesterday's game against the Oakland A's. Shohei Ohtani did it again. We'll also talk about why Brandon Marsh and that trade was the best trade for the Angels, and if the Halos should call up players from the Trash Pandas or let them finish the year and get some playoff experience. You're Locked On with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. You can share the pod with your friends by just hitting the share button. You can also rate and review the pod on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And you can subscribe and click the bell to be notified on YouTube every time a new episode drops. And today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on right now is their anniversary sale. You can save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today.
Happy Wednesday to all you Halo fans out there. Welcome to Locked On Angels, where it's your team every single day. You've got the Frisch brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Well, through the good times and the bad times, Mike, you and I are big Halo fans, and we've been fans for a very long time, and that's why we love talking about our favorite team every single day here on Locked On Angels. And this was one of those good times because the Angels got a huge win on Tuesday night as Shohei Ohtani sets more records, makes more history. He does it all, and now he is in good company as he has joined Babe Ruth as the only starting pitcher with double-digit home runs and double-digit wins, but he's the only one with as many stolen bases as he has, by the way. I don't think Babe Ruth was stealing bags out there, right?
No, too big of a guy. And I did see this tweet from our boy Roger Lodge. Shohei is the only baseball player to ever hit 25 home runs and strike out 150 batters in one season. And Shohei has done it twice, Jonathan.
You mean you're not going to do it like Roger?
No.
Shohei Ohtani. The only player to ever... I'm just kidding. It takes forever.
This is a 30-minute episode. We can't go any longer
Not
than
a
that.
4-hour afternoon show. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. Hey, Angels win, John, 5-1.
Yes,
I was kind of bummed that they didn't get the shutout because I wanted to share this stat with you that nearly 30% of the Halo victories have been shutouts this year.
Dang.
And that's ridiculous, but they didn't get the shutout, so it's a little less than 30%, but still ridiculous. And it goes to show how weird this season has been. And Johnny, this is the only second 2-game winning streak. I know that I said that completely wrong, but this is their second 2-game winning streak since June. The Angels have really struggled to actually get some victories, but thank God we have Shohei Ohtani, 6 innings thrown last night, 4 hits, 5 Ks. He did struggle a little bit with the walks. The 3 walks were a lot for Shohei recently. But Johnny, 10-7, a 2.68 ERA, 150 Ks, and 111 innings. And you already mentioned it. There's only 2 players that have ever hit 10 home runs in a season and won 10 games. Shohei Ohtani and Babe Ruth was the other guy that did that. And not only did he do that, Johnny, he hit his 25th home run. He passed Ichiro for the second most all-time for a Japanese-born player. He has 118, and he trails Hideki Matsui, Godzilla, who hit 175 home runs, former Angel. He was on our team for a bit. But he'll get there. Yeah, he'll probably get there next year. That'd be a lot of home runs. But that was just a remarkable game last night, and it was so fun to watch. And that's what we have just come to expect from Shohei. By the way, this guy got beat up all week long against the A's. He gets spiked, and then they have a ball last night that gets shot back at his ankle, stays in the game. What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man.
Yeah, he stayed in the game after that rocket off of Ramon Laureano's bat. Just one more reason for Angel fans to not like Ramon, because he's always robbing home runs and he's always hitting home runs, and then he hit Shohei with that, but obviously not on purpose, but just another reason for us to not like him, because he's always beating us up on the field and our players, apparently. And then, Mike, get this, over 1,000 career strikeouts in professional strikeouts across the Japanese League and the MLB for Shohei Ohtani. So that is also quite a feat as well. Man, this guy seriously does it all. We can't talk about him enough. He's a history maker. He's the main event, the main attraction, the Sho-Stopper. That's Shohei Ohtani.
And you got a promo right now?
I just did. That's
that was
right.
Good.
And if anybody has any doubts if he's going to be the MVP, well, write to us at Locked On Angels on Twitter, and we'd love to hear from you, and we'll tell you why you're wrong.
Yes. We'd love a good debate, and we'll tell you why you're wrong.
And it won't be a good debate because it'll be a one-sided debate. That's all.
Yeah.
But
we're going to win. You're going to lose.
That's right. It's our show.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, he is just incredible on both sides of the plate, whether he's pitching or he's hitting. He hit that bomb, and man, that was just hanging up for him, and he hit it out. That was fantastic. He was ready to go out for the 7th, and Phil Nevin had to be like, hey, nah, maybe you should take the rest of the night off. And then they pinch hit for him. The Oakland fans went home, Mike, when Phil Gosselin came in to pinch hit for Shohei Ohtani. The fans left the stadium because they were there to see Ohtani, and that's why he is the main attraction. He is the main event. He's the face of baseball, and I don't care what anybody has to say. He's the guy drawing more eyes to the TV, more butts in the seats at each game. I mean, think about all the gates that are over the moon because Shohei Ohtani is coming to your stadium. And I say this as a baseball fan, like if I know we have him next year, and you know, you and I would like to see him stay with the team, but I mean, no matter where he goes, he is going to be a draw for the rest of his career because of what he does.
Absolutely. And by the way, the fans didn't leave as soon as Phil started hitting. They took the moment to boo that Phil was actually hitting because they wanted to see Ohtani. And then the camera on the TV side caught a mom and a daughter who were dressed up in Ohtani gear. And the mom looked at the daughter and she mouthed, "Who's this guy?" So poor Phil Gosselin.
You know, there were 2 games last season that I went to where Shohei was out of the lineup. Somebody else was DHing and didn't find out until I was getting my ticket scanned, walking through the gate. And fortunately, no kidding. But he did pinch hit in one of those games, and that was pretty cool. Actually, no, I think he pinch hit for both of them. But let's not gloss over the fact that Taylor Ward hit a 3-run bomb. That was awesome to see. His 15th home run of the season, and the most he's had in a single season. Of course, he had 7 last season, and hopefully this is an indication that Ward is getting back to his Wardy ways, taking us to the psych ward. And then let's also not gloss over the fact that David Fletcher is the A's worst enemy. He's got the highest batting average in Coliseum history with at least 100 plate appearances. At the start of last night's game, he was batting .410.
Good grief. Good grief.
And he made some incredible plays in the outfield. He had that diving catch. And that guy, just how much did we miss David Fletcher? I think that is going to be a theme on every single episode of Locked On Angels from here on out. How much did we miss David Fletcher? Well, on a scale of 1 to Fletch, it's Fletch plus for me.
His war in our fandom is really high. And
that's right.
And what's going to be really frustrating is if by some miracle we get back to 500 or maybe even finish the season at 500, we're all going to go, man, all of those games Fletch missed. What could have been?
What could have been?
Because maybe, I know we love Trout and I know we love Rendon, but I think Fletch's war has got to be jumping right now because that guy, him coming into this lineup changes that entire lineup because he makes contact. How about that? And he plays really incredible defense, and he just knows where to place the ball when it's time to place the ball. And yesterday I gave Joe Adell a really hard time because I talked about him wanting to really perform well, and I talked about how his focus can lack. He looked great last night.
Good.
And
he listened to the pod.
Oh, man, he ripped one down the left field line, got a double. And so, Joe, great job. We are cheering for you on Locked On Angels.
Joe, thank you for tuning in to Locked On Angels and taking Mike's advice and applying that to the game last night. Mike, the game today is at 12:37, so on your lunch break, people, make sure you tune into the game. It's TBD so far for who's pitching for us.
As of this
I guess
recording.
We're not sure yet as of this recording, but we're looking to go for the sweep. Mike, get this. The last sweep that we had was 4 games against the Guardians. When?
Gross. In April,
in
right?
April.
gross. That's terrible. What a terrible stat that is. Well,
Terrible.
coming up on Locked On Angels, we're going to share why the Brandon Marsh trade was the best trade that the Angels made this year. But first, we have a new sponsor on Locked On Angels, and this one is one that you should pay attention to, especially if you care about your health and want to get healthy. Our sponsor is the Liver Health Formula. Did you know the key to sustainable weight loss, Jonathan, is through the liver? Learn something new even on Locked On Angels. But because of our modern diets of rich, unhealthy processed food like Del Taco that I ate yesterday, most of us have overworked our livers, and it's time to rejuvenate your liver and get it healthy and reignite your metabolism. And thanks to Liver Health Formula by Pure Health Research, you can do just that. Liver Health Formula contains 8 liver-boosting super nutrients that work together to wake up a sluggish liver, and you can turn all of those toxin-flushing system grossness inside of you, have it go through the liver. This helps with that. It's a fat-burning machine, makes your liver actually function correctly. No more bloated belly, no more uncomfortable digestion, and no more feeling tired and low on energy all of the time. And best of all, Johnny, Liver Health Formula makes it easier to maintain a healthy body weight long term. And as listeners of Locked On Angels, you can try this for free, and you can actually try a new free bottle of Curb Fit with your order. Curb Fit is a safe and natural appetite suppressant, making it easy to say no to unhealthy foods. So you can get all the information that you need at getliverhelp.com/MLB. Again, getliverhelp.com/MLB. You can try Liver Health Formula completely risk-free, and you can claim a free bottle of Curb Fit with your order. Again, that website is getliverhelp.com/MLB. You can get started getting healthy today.
You're telling me no more bloatedness, no more sluggishness, no more
Yes.
afternoon crash where I'm tired. You're telling me I can get rid of all that?
Let's go. It's
Let's
time,
do
Johnny.
it.
Time to get healthy.
Well, we want to thank you for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. We know that you guys tune in for the important conversations around our favorite team, and we have to talk about this Brandon Marsh, Logan O'Hoppe trade.
Yep.
We were all taken by surprise, Mike, that Brandon Marsh was traded, first of all, and it happened very early on deadline day. It was the first trade the Angels made, and the first of the deadline that they made. And I was shocked when I got that notification, and I couldn't believe it. And so I think a lot of Halo fans felt that way. How about you?
Yeah, I felt that too. In fact, superfan, Locked On superfan RJ texted me and said, "Brandon Marsh, what?" And I was right in the middle of a meeting, and I paused and didn't pay attention to the meeting because I wanted to see if that was the case. I was like, what is he talking about? I was shocked by that. But now looking at what we received back, I think that my hope has actually grown, and my excitement to see Logan O'Hoppe is growing as well. I think this guy has a lot of potential. He immediately became our number 1 prospect in our system. And so that's
not
great.
saying much because we didn't have a great system, but
Yeah.
the fact that he did become number 1 is it's a good thing for us.
Yeah, O'Hoppe's minor league hitting coach, Tyler Henson, actually said this: at the end of the day, I think the trade is great for him. And this guy, he's young. He's already hitting. Johnny, he has 3 home runs in 4 games with the Trash Pandas.
And 2 last night, right?
And, oh, man, this guy, he is crushing the ball right now. And he just looks smooth. He looks like he knows what he's doing down there. And the great thing, I think, in having him on the Trash Pandas is that this is going to be our starting rotation. Those guys are going to be in the major league soon, and having them work with O'Hoppe, I think, is a really great benefit.
That's a really good point, because you think about how many starters we have on the Trash Pandas, and even some who've come up like Chase Silseth, and even Detmers, who's on the Pandas last year. And so they're working their way up to the major league team. And if O'Hoppe has been working with them now in the minors, I can't imagine how great they'll work together in the future. That's a really great point.
Sure. And I think that we want that. We want somebody that knows this pitching staff really, really well. And I think that it actually is building the anticipation for what might happen with O'Hoppe in 2023. I think that he should come up. He may not come up until June, but I think that if he continues to perform the way that he is, he will be with this major league team soon. And I know that we have Max Stassi, and I know that he's been signed for a couple of years, but O'Hoppe looks like a guy that's ready to bust out, which is why I think, and you think, that this was actually the best trade that the Angels made at the trade deadline.
Yeah, it really makes the most sense, honestly. And it made sense for both players. I mean, Brandon Marsh gets a fresh look in Philadelphia, and he gets help with his swing, as we've talked about over and over again on the show. And it just seems to be a kind of a prospect for prospect match. I know
Yeah.
that Marsh is a little older. He's got more time in the majors than O'Hoppe, but at the same time, I think both of these guys showed a lot of promise, a lot of potential, and we barely scratched the surface of Brandon Marsh. And I think that guy
Correct.
is going to be a great player for years to come. But when it comes to Logan O'Hoppe, I think that there is a lot of potential in front of him. I think this trade makes sense, Mike. And I think that the Phillies saw something in Brandon Marsh that they really wanted. And in return, we get a position player that we really need. We don't have a ton of depth. I know that we have Chad Wallach and we have Edgar Caro in the low A, or I think high A, and that's about it in terms of catching prospects. And
Yeah.
we got to see Wallach earlier this season, and he's good. But I really love the potential idea of Max Stassi, the veteran catcher, who's great at framing, has pretty good defense. I know he hasn't thrown out a lot as much this season as he has in the past, but I love the idea of the tandem of Logan O'Hoppe and Max Stassi together, and possibly even in 2023. You have a veteran catcher and then a young catcher he can take under his wing. Do you think O'Hoppe starts out 2023 with Max Stassi, or do they get some sort of fill-in backstop?
I think that if they bring up anybody as a backup for Max Stassi, it probably will be Chad Wallach. Chad Wallach's 30, and so he's a little bit older, and he's proven that he can be a solid backup. I think if you bring O'Hoppe up, you're going to want him to start. You're going to want him to get the reps. You're going to want him to be behind the plate. I want to see what he can do, and so I think that might actually be the reason why they bring him up in September, so that they can actually get a taste of what he can do in the major leagues. And I know that when we look at all the trades that the Angels made, it feels like the salary dump with Raisel Iglesias isn't like the best trade for us. And we saw Tucker Davidson really struggle with us. And so this trade, I think, is actually one that we can celebrate. And I think it gets even better if somebody like Mickey Moniak actually is the guy that we've seen play over the last couple of games. He had a couple of home runs, right? And he played some good defense. I think that maybe we've got something in Mickey Moniak that just didn't actually come to fruition for the Phillies that maybe will come to fruition with the Angels once he's healthy. And so I think that this was an A trade, and I think that it actually moves to maybe an A+ if Mickey Moniak becomes a really great outfielder for us, maybe a outfielder that's starting or somebody that's a fourth outfielder that can fill in for Adele, Trout, or Taylor Ward.
And let's look at it this way. When Max Stassi was traded from the Astros to the Angels, all of us went, what? Who's this guy? Right. And that was a Billy Epler move, but it was a good move because Max Stassi was kind of under the radar. He had the defensive reputation, but not quite the bat. And then we eventually saw him get better defensively, and we got to see the bat come around. In fact, last season, he was one of the best catchers in baseball in terms of batting average and home runs and things like that. For a while, he was a very strong catcher. So we got the best out of Max Stassi when he wasn't very promising, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So imagine what we can do with Logan O'Hoppe, a number one prospect in our system, and what he's going to bring to the table in the future.
Well, Locked On Angels is brought to you by BlueNile.com. At BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of your dreams to gifting a classic and timeless jewelry piece, all at prices that you won't find at a traditional jeweler. And if you're looking for jewelry and you're having trouble choosing, Blue Nile's got your back. They have jewelry experts on hand 24/7, and they have simple tools online that help you choose the diamond shape, the diamond size and clarity, as well as the setting style, all things that I have no idea about, which is so helpful they have that. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her perfect engagement ring, and each ring is one of a kind. And if it's not perfect, no problem, 100% satisfaction guarantee. So make those special moments sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on right now, we've been talking about their anniversary sale. Save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Plus, every order is insured. It ships free, Johnny, and it arrives in a discreet package that won't give away what's inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today.
All right, Mike, our last segment of the day has to do with the Rocket City Trash Pandas, the Angels AA team. And I want to bring up our good friend, JD, who is from Alabama, and he's from
That's a good JD.
Huntsville. No, you have to say Huntsville. Well, they're actually in Madison, Alabama, the Rocket City Trash Pandas, and they are our AA affiliate. And what we've seen from them so far this season has been really promising. In fact, we saw Chase, I mentioned this earlier, Chase Silseth, who is on the Trash Pandas. He's pitched for us, and he had a great debut against the A's. Of course, Reed Detmer spent some time there and came up very quickly last season through AAA and then debuted with the team. And so that was great to see. But man, we have to talk about some of the names on this roster, and we also have to talk about their accolades. They finished first in the first half division winner. They are on their way to making the playoffs in the second half. And then some of these names, they blow me away. What do you got there?
Sam Bachman, Kai Bush, Logan O'Hoppe, Coleman Crow, Chase Silseth, Sonny DeShara, and Zach Neto, who actually just got called
as of yesterday. That's right.
He only spent time, and I think it was like high A or single A. I think he was there for like a hot minute, and then he was gone. He was the Angels' #1 pick this year. And so here's the tension that we're wrestling with. I'd love your thoughts, Johnny. Should the Angels bring up some of these guys now, or should they let them marinate, let them soak a little bit, and let them get playoff experience with the Trash Pandas, and that prepares them for 2023? What say you?
As much as I would love to see Shohei Ohtani and David Fletcher, the David Fletcher and Ohtani show starring the Trash Pandas, which would be kind of funny to just have them on the team with the entire AA team. I want to see these guys cook. I want them to sizzle like a fajita platter.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to be rushed up, because player development is exactly that, development. And that is a 4-syllable word, I think, because development. Yes. Because it takes that long to let a player develop.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's important that the Angels don't rush anybody. Look, we, out of excitement, rushed Joe Adell to the majors in 2020. That didn't work out so well. He really, really struggled. He was doing pretty well in the minor leagues, and it was the COVID season. And it was like, you know what? We need a boost.
Yeah.
We need an energy shot. We need an espresso shot. And we brought up Joe Adell, and that didn't work out great. And now he's bounced between AAA and the majors. Mike, I think that's some of what might be wrong with Joe Adell. Obviously, he had a great showing last night, but the mental game gets in his way. And I found a great tweet, and if I find it, I'll retweet it because it was great. Somebody said that Joe Adell makes the heads-up plays much better than the routine plays because he doesn't have time to think about it. And that's exactly what happened last night in the A's Angel game, because he made that awesome diving, sliding catch in left field, and he didn't have time to think about it. And I think that if you rush a prospect, then the exact good example of that is Joe Adell and how much he has struggled so far. And obviously he's still young. He's still got time to work on things and get better. And we hope that he gets better over the course of the rest of the season. He needs playing time, right?
Yeah.
He needs major league playing time. But as far as the AA team goes, I wouldn't mind seeing some of them come up and get a nice look toward the end of the season, when we don't really have much to play for or be excited about. We'd be excited about some of these prospects. But Mike, I think you're right. I think they need the playoff experience. I think they need to know what it's like to have a winning attitude, a winning environment, and a winning energy, which is sorely missing from the Angels. We saw it early on this season, but I think the Trash Pandas are the exact right team. And like I said, there's a ton of talent on this team. Sonny D is just got added as well, just drafted, and
Yep.
he's crushing it. And then
Yep.
of course we see I think Ben Joyce as well is on
He
the
is.
Trash
He
Pandas.
is. Yeah.
So
Yep.
good grief, man. So much talent there. What do you think?
I think that culture matters, and I think that if they brought him up to this Halo team, what they're going to experience is the cowboy hat, the stickers, and the splash of water in the face. That's the fun of the Angels, right? But then
Right.
they're also going to experience a team that doesn't have their full team together and are going nowhere. And I want them
Mm.
to eat at the table of kings. I want them to be in an environment where they're successful. I want them to feel what it's like in the bottom of the ninth to come back and win and have those games matter. And I would love to see them develop and do well in the major leagues. And it'd be great to see them come up and see what we got, right? But I think
Mhm.
that when we see what we got, it can, as you've mentioned, it can mess with these guys because they are
Mhm.
humans. And so I want to see a cultural precedent set with the Trash
Mhm.
Pandas because I'm of the opinion that what's happening in Double A is what Perry wants to bring to the major league roster
Yes.
next season. And I don't think it's just about talent. I think it's all about culture. And I would
Mhm.
love to see those guys cook. I'd love to see those guys marinate, and I'd love to see those guys win so that they can bring that attitude to the major leagues and bring that excitement to the major leagues because we haven't had that in so many years. There
Yeah.
hasn't been that winning attitude and that excitement and that joy and these guys and their camaraderie. And I
Mhm.
would hate for them to come up and then suddenly lose that, right?
Right.
Environment has a big impact on anybody anywhere. And you get stuck in a organization that might be doing well, but the environment sucks, you're going to leave that, right? People don't quit on organizations, they quit on culture. And I
Yeah.
would hate for these guys to come up and go, this sucks.
Mm.
Because you see that, even though he's the unicorn, you see that on Shohei Ohtani's face and in his
Sure.
body language. It's probably
Sure.
why he doesn't want to miss games because he
Right.
wants to build a culture of commitment and winning and consistency. And I'm
Right.
in and all in, right? And I think that that's what they're building with the Trash Pandas. And so let that marinate, let that cook, and then let's allow that to impact and influence the major league roster next season.
There you go. Sizzle, baby. Hey, Edgar H. At Downbeat Eddie on Twitter, one of our favorite follows. He said, realistically, what time frame would you give these guys before they overtake the big league roster? And I think the key word there is overtake because, like you and I mentioned, we'll see some of these guys. We'll get samples. We'll get a little sample platter. I don't know why this turned into food stuff. Maybe it's the Alabama cooking that we're longing
Yeah.
for. But
Yeah.
with in terms of them overtaking the major league roster, a lot of our top 30 prospects, and a lot of them are in Double A. Some of them might arrive by next year, maybe
Right.
even before the end of this year. But I think a full takeover, and obviously not every player is going to make it from Double A, but a full takeover would probably be sometime around 2024 is when you can expect most of the team of the Trash Pandas to either be up with a major league team, or perhaps they got moved, or perhaps somebody on the major league team got moved in place of a Trash Panda. So I think 2024 is when you can really expect the next wave, the next generation of Halos. But in the meantime, we'll probably get some good looks at some of the future of the Angels.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Now, make your second listen, the Locked On MLB podcast show with MLB expert Paul Francis Sullivan, bringing humor, passion, and his unique perspective on every team. And he shares some of the biggest stories from around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts.
Hey, give us a follow at Locked On Angels on Twitter. And of course, you can get at us at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. We love hearing from you there as well. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
We're going to ask this question. Is trading Shohei Ohtani a good thing or a bad thing? We actually are of the opinion that trading Shohei isn't really a wise decision, and it's based upon MLB trade history. We'll give you some stats, we'll give you some names, and we'll tell you why we're right tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
We've got evidence?
We've got evidence. We've done some investigation.
That's right. All right. Until tomorrow's show, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
And we'll see you right back here tomorrow for more Locked On Angels. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.